And we're back. Welcome back to the Retirement Decoded podcast with Scott Tucker. I'm your host, Scott Tucker. With me today is Associate Advisor Andre Hootie. Say hello, Andre Hootie.
Hello, Andre Hootie.
Well, Andre Hootie, today on the podcast, we have a question from Mark. Mark asks, Andre, how bad is the Illinois estate tax if you're just over $4 million? Question mark.
A lot worse than you would think.
So, Mark, you... I guess you're an Illinois resident because you're asking about the Illinois estate tax. Now, Andre Hootie, we are federally licensed. We can help Americans and green card holders all across the fruited plain, all throughout the United States and its territories. But we have the majority, we are in Chicago, and the majority of our clients are in Chicagoland, Cook County, Lake County, Illinois, that sort of thing, maybe Will County, out to Frankfort, Illinois, and that kind of thing. But Andre, Mark's asking about the Illinois estate tax and how bad is it if you're just one penny over $4 million. Now, Andre, as you know, Illinois does not have an estate tax exclusion the way the federal system works.
It'd be nice.
And a lot of Illinois residents aren't even aware that there is an Illinois estate tax, which is kind of mind-boggling.
Well, that's how they want it.
That's how they want it, the man.
Yep, the man.
So Andre, as you know, and I'm preaching to the choir, but the folks who listen to podcasts, they're not you and I, or you and me and you.
Not sure.
Penny Ripstra, if you're listening, get on the phone calendar at tuckerretirement.com. Penny Ripstra was my senior, when I was a senior in high school, she was my English teacher or public speaking. I shouldn't put all that on her, should I? Both my English and my public speaking? That's a burden to bear.
Yeah. Just
I think it was English, and then we had a public speaking component of it.
That makes more sense because having a whole public speaking class, I didn't get that until I was college.
I went to DeWitt, Michigan. I grew up in DeWitt, Michigan, home of the DeWittians. And at DeWitt High School, it was kind of a college prep public school. But the whole town of DeWitt, Michigan was expected to go to college, which is kind of strange.
Yeah. Well,
we had like an 89% college placement rate.
Oh, wow.
I don't think the 89% of a a private Catholic school should even go to college.
No, probably not. I mean, half of it is just...
Andre, if I had it to do over again, I'd be an HVAC technician. I'd rule the world.
Or an electrician.
I think HVAC's better because you got them by the, you know what? Because nobody's going to have you go home when they're either at 0 degrees and their furnace is out, or it's 100 degrees and their AC's out. Nobody's letting you go home without accepting payment.
Yeah, that's true.
Do the work and accept payment.
Yeah.
So in Illinois, Mark, we have you could call it a few things. It's not an exclusion. It's not a $4 million exclusion per person or even per couple. It is a $4 million threshold per person or per couple. Now, Andre, we're not attorneys. We do work with a couple different law firms for what I'm about to describe. There is a thing called a Tucker Shelter Trust. That's what we call it. And, of course, we're not an attorney spokesman, so we got to work with an outside law firm for this. We can't create legal documents. But using what we call a Tucker Shelter Trust for an Illinois couple, we can double your Illinois estate tax threshold from $4 million per couple to $8 million per couple. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way for individuals in Illinois, so that's what we can do for couples in Illinois. And Mark, do you think we should, in this question, should we assume Mark is married or unmarried?
I'd probably go with married. That's half the time what we're coming across most of the time.
Or even probably 2/3.
Yeah, and I feel like and especially because a lot of people, when they're married and they think they have, the problem solved, half the time they step into it. They don't realize that it's only half.
Well, so Mark, half the time, maybe a third, half the time, I don't know. So let's say half the time people are single and half the time people are married. Now, Andre, we've yet to have any clients that are polygamous. We don't tend to have a Mark that has 2 wives.
Not yet.
Or even we help same-sex couples. We have not helped same-sex polygamy couples.
Well, there's always time for a first.
That's probably coming, isn't it?
It's on the horizon.
That's what's next.
Now that you put it out in the world.
It's like these kids that go to prom with 20 of their friends.
Yep.
Nobody has a date.
Right, exactly.
What is wrong with the world? This is how you end up with a 40-year-old living in your basement. Mm-hmm. So Mark asks, let's say that Mark is, what's most common is, half the time Mark is single and half the time Mark is married. Most of the time when Mark is married, most of the time it's to a woman. We'll roll with it. In any which situation, Mark, we're like a Swiss Army knife. We can help in any situation, except for the polygamy thing. I don't know how we can. I think it's illegal federally.
Yeah, and finances might be hard if you're splitting it 8 ways, 10 ways.
I've been watching too much TV. So Mark asks, Andre, how bad is the Illinois state tax if you're just over $4 million? So Mark, let's say Mark and Mrs. Mark or Mr. Mark, whichever way you want to go with it. Mark and Mrs. Mark are at $4 million even when they pass away. Illinois does not collect any estate tax, Mark. However, if Mark and Mrs. Mark are just 1 penny over $4 million, you should expect to pay roughly $285,000 to the Illinois Department of Revenue. And they'll do good things with the money, Mark. Don't worry about it.
Of course they will.
Of course. So
our roads are already fixed.
that's not even the roads. The roads are the least of our problems.
Yeah.
I mean, the things they spend money on. In Springfield,
some neighborhoods in Chicago, that might be the first problem they have. They can't even get out of the street without popping a tire.
Well, then we're talking about state taxpayer. What the state money goes to is even worse than with the. Well, I don't know. City of Chicago is pretty bad with how they spend the money.
I mean, Chicago is basically the state.
Well, so Mark, I almost missed that, Andre. Yeah, so the way things work, and not to make it political, but the way things work in Illinois, it's a very blue state, and so the way things work in Illinois is Illinois Democrats tend to run they do in fact run the entire state of Illinois. And then in other states, it's the other way around, where I guess you'd say Texas, I would say is still red, but the city of Austin, city of Dallas, city of Houston, those are blue cities that do not run the state so far. In Illinois, kind of northeastern Illinois, there's a very blue Chicagoland thing going on. And so the Northeast Illinois towns and cities run Springfield, Illinois. They run the state government. Yeah. So I think too much power in either party's hands is probably not the greatest thing, because it can get, you need to have those checks and balances. At least that's how the forefathers envisioned it. Yeah, and perhaps
it's funny. I've always thought it's funny how a lot of Illinois is Republican. Chicago is largely Democratic, and then Illinois as a whole state becomes Democratic.
If you go downstate, it's like you're in a different state. Yeah, I mean, you go from Chicago, go southwest, about 2 hours to Peoria.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not even 2 hours.
Maybe not even. Yeah, maybe even just
45 miles, 50 miles. Yeah. You're getting 50, right there.
51 miles.
Yeah, it's right there somewhere.
Yeah, if you get out to Rockford, Illinois, that's west of Chicago.
Even just outside of Naperville, just like the other side of Naperville, you're pretty much. It's not that far. It's an hour and a half.
Cornfields.
Yeah.
It does change. So anyway, in Illinois, we have an Illinois estate tax, and it's $4 million threshold, not exclusion, and it is per individual or couple. It doesn't automatically double if you're a couple. Mm-hmm. So Mark and Mrs. Mark or Mr. Mark, if you want it to double from $4 million to $8 million, you have to use what's called a Tucker Shelter Trust. And now we're not attorneys, so we have to partner with a law firm to do that for you. We had somebody recently, Andre, Max and I were in this meeting. You were not in the meeting. And it's from a workshop. We taught an estate planning or legacy planning and taxes workshop. I think it was in Park Ridge. And a gentleman came to see us from that. And he and his wife, they already had about $6 million saved for retirement, right about 72 years of age. And then she inherited $6 million from her uncle.
Wow, that's a great inheritance.
Well, no, so now the problem is they're worth $12 million, and they reside in Park Ridge, Illinois, very close to the office. And we calculated their Illinois estate tax if they just hurried up and died right now, 72, which you wouldn't want to do. No, be the wrong way to win the game of some sorts. So it's bad enough right now. It's at $12 million net worth. We calculated that their Illinois estate tax would be $1.92 million to Springfield, to Illinois Department of Revenue.
Just a couple pennies.
Yeah, but then what's weird is if it goes to $24 million 10 years from now, it's at $24 million. It's this crazy progressive tax bracket system. It could be a lot worse than $2 million or $4 million. And $4 million, it could be even worse than that. So, Andre, something we do, as you know, is preaching to the choir, something we do for folks potentially who are, say if somebody comes to see us and they're at $3 million net worth, we might initiate what we call a Tucker Shelter Trust, raise them from $4 million to $8 million for a state tax threshold for a married couple. But then they're probably going to butt up against that again in just a few years. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, not specific advice, your mileage may vary, not legal advice, we're not attorneys. Sometimes we need to consider using an irrevocable trust of some sort. And what we might do is try to get, again, not specific advice, we might try to move some amount of money out of the estate taxable estate each year. into this irrevocable trust. So let's say we were to use what we call a Tucker Shelter Trust for an Illinois couple, and we get their threshold up to $8 million. So they're okay if they die exactly at $8 million. If they go one penny over, they got to pay a whole ton of money to Springfield. We might leave it to where maybe they have $7 million in their estate taxable estate, and then maybe each year and not exactly each year, maybe we move $1 million into the irrevocable trust. So we're both. Illinois has no gift tax. Illinois you only get into trouble with Illinois for estate tax purposes if you exceed the $4 million or $8 million with a Tucker Shelter Trust by 1 penny. If you don't do that, you're okay. The federal estate tax, you have in 2026, the current level is $15 million per person, and there is no Tucker Shelter Trust needed at the federal level. But if you can move out of your estate up to $30 million as a married couple federally in 2026, and there'd be no Illinois gift tax, and this would be a lifetime exclusion federally that you could move $30 million out. And we would want to do that bit at a time because we'd like to leave you, Mark and Mrs. Mark, potentially. We'd like to leave you maybe $7 million in your estate taxable estate in Illinois, and but we could move say up to $30 million in 2026 for lifetime exclusion federally. So you get $30 million that's not subject to the Illinois estate tax. Yeah. Does that make sense, Andre?
It does. I mean, I
need to diagram it.
Exactly. I think that might be a little bit easier for most people. I think it might be a little bit it's a complicated thing. So I wouldn't suggest you should try this on your own. You got to talk to a professional like us. This is not easy stuff. But I thought you did a very good job in simplifying it as simple as it I think could be, because it's not easy.
And for those of you watching us on YouTube at tuckeryoutube.com, or you click the link down below in the description, the podcast nowadays says simulcast. Simulcast? Mm-hmm. The podcast is available in video form on tuckeryoutube.com. Andre, what I just was thinking of, both of us wear glasses. Not ideal for video.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Huh. See, I hope there's no glare.
Looking funny. Can you move your microphone a little bit? And they can see. I probably should move my microphone too. Maybe that doesn't quite work.
See, now I got to face the other way though.
No, you don't. You turn it sideways. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can watch how confused Andre is. No, you turn it that way. What do you mean? Move it to the side.
This way? Well, then the bar's in my face.
No, you just look right here in the camera. If you want to see how
there we go.
Complicated this is. If you want to see how complicated this is, Andre's looking at a mirror image of himself trying to move the microphone from out of the very front of his face.
Back and forth,
Yeah, it can confuse a person. It can be almost as confusing as the Illinois state tax. So we've had that where the $12 million would be taxed today by Illinois at $1.92 million. Illinois state tax, and most folks aren't even aware. Illinois residents, most of them are not even aware there's an Illinois state tax.
Yeah,
or they misunderstand how it works.
Yeah, and that's rightfully so because it's confusing. We
had a gentleman come see us a couple months ago, and I forget, does he live Des Plaines, Park Ridge, something like that? We're in the northwest corner of Chicago. Park Ridge is across the street. Des Plaines is about maybe a block west. Rosemont's not far off. And gentleman came to see us without his wife, which we do not recommend. But he came to see us without his wife. They have a net worth right now. I believe he was 72 also. He was 72 and she was, I think, 2 years younger, something like that. $6.3 million net worth. And all he ever did is they just kept their noses down, didn't spend too much money, saved, invested diligently, all sort of thing. And at $6.3 million, I believe their Illinois estate tax was roughly $550,000 if they died right now. But if you live another 10 more years, you're looking at Illinois estate taxable estate of maybe $13 million. And it's not proportional exactly. Let's say it were proportional, it'd be $1.3 million to the state of Illinois. Yeah. Get on our phone calendar at tuckerretirement.com. We'll run your numbers, tell you how bad it is.
Save all your life, and then they whack you at the end anyway.
Yeah. Now, Andre, we are federally licensed, as we said, so we can help folks all across the country, all throughout the United States and its territories if you're a U.S. citizen or a green card holder. Now, for instance, if you're listening to the podcast, either on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, all the places where podcasts are sold or offered for free, you got to pay for your own electric bill.
Yeah.
Or just go to the bus stop and plug in your phone.
Well, you could just really long extension cord to your neighbor's house too. That works.
Not specific advice. Your mileage may vary. So say folks in Pennsylvania, we've talked to some folks from Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania has an estate tax. Now, every time we talk to somebody from a different state, we have to go verify what the current law is. I believe Nebraska just repealed their estate tax. I think Maryland still has an estate tax and inheritance tax. So, and if that may not be current, so asterisk here.
They change it every year. States do anyway with elections.
Not all states.
Well, not all states, but
there's always somebody changing something.
Yeah.
So imagine you had an estate tax, and your estate paid an estate tax to your state, and then your beneficiaries paid an inheritance tax to your state. Is that double taxation without representation?
Yeah, that sounds like it.
Well, the dead guy is definitely unrepresented. By the time you kick it, you're no longer, you can't, well, actually in Chicago, dead people do have representation because you can vote early and often in our elections.
Right, I forgot, yeah.
Yeah, we have record turnouts at the cemeteries. Boy, Chicago is a wonderful place. It's not all bad news. There are some YouTubers out there, they do these, especially, I've been seeing it with British tourists or Portuguese tourists, where they come to the U.S. and they do a little tour of a city, and they say, "Oh, here's what it's really like." And then if they go from London to New York City, they'll say, "Oh, how different it is." Or they'll go from somewhere in the UK, maybe somewhere in England, and they'll go to Chicago and go around Chicago, and here's all the sights, and they'll compare it to where they're from. And sometimes it's just eye opening to them. I don't know where I was going with that. But anyway, so
that Chicago's not as bad as some people think.
Yeah. There was this couple. I think they were English the other day. They're from the UK definitely, and I think they were English, and they came to Chicago, and they landed at O'Hare, and they got on the CTA Blue Line, which we call the L, which is not always elevated. Sometimes it goes right down the middle of I-90, which was interesting for them to see that. Like, wait, we're on the train, but we're driving.
Yep.
And they went to where they go? Oh, they wanted to go to the world's largest Starbucks, so they went to the Starbucks.
Oh,
okay. How many stories is that Starbucks downtown? 5 or 6 stories?
Something like that. They even have a rooftop. Yeah.
Well, they have a cocktail level. They have a restaurant. They have a
pastry level.
They have like a corkscrew shaped escalator.
Yeah, they do.
They have all that. And then after that, they went to somewhere. Oh, they went to get breakfast, and they couldn't believe how big the breakfast was. And the gentleman actually, he ordered everything. He read all what he wanted to order. Then he forgot, he shouldn't have done this. Instead of getting biscuits and pork gravy, he got pancakes.
Oh,
you can get pancakes anywhere.
Yeah, what? They're no different here.
Chicago is a home of obesity. If you're going to do it, you do it right.
Yeah, deep dish all to yourself.
Well, no, I'm talking about breakfast.
Deep dish for breakfast. What do you mean?
If you
never done it?
If you eat deep dish for breakfast, get on our phone calendar at tuckerretirement.com. We'll talk about it. We'll give you 15 minutes for free in the coming week with one of our financial planners. Myself, Andre Hootie, Max Wren, financial planners all. So they did that. What else they do? Oh, they went on the architecture tour on the river on the Chicago. For those of you in Peoria, the Chicago River empties into Lake Michigan, or does it? Because there's locks on it. The Chicago River used to flow into Lake Michigan. Now it flows away from Lake Michigan.
Now Lake Michigan feeds the river. Yeah.
So the Chicago River goes now, because they have locks and they're operated by the U.S. Coast Guard. And the water, we've reversed course. I'm not kidding here, folks. For those of you not from Chicago. There are locks that are operated by the United States Coast Guard at where the Chicago River meets Lake Michigan. The locks keep the river from flowing into the lake nowadays. Been that way for 100 some years maybe. And the Chicago Ship and Sanitary Canal, something like that. This canal, we dug this canal. Not we didn't. You and I didn't dig it, Andre.
No.
But the canal goes from the Chicago River, and it connects to the Illinois River, and that connects. The hip bone's connected to the leg bone. So the Chicago River goes to the Ship and Sanitary Canal. That goes to the Illinois River. That connects to the Mississippi River. Mm-hmm. So what's crazy is you can go from, say, I don't know, up eastern Canada. Call it Eastern Canada, St. Lawrence Seaway, north of Maine, somewhere up there's over by there, Newfoundland, Labrador, Set Hut. And then so you can come down the St. Lawrence Seaway, and you can go all the way into the Great Lakes. And then once you're in the Great Lakes, you go up around up around the Mitten, the lower peninsula of Michigan, and you come back around the other side. You come down south into Lake Michigan, the southwest corner of Lake Michigan in Chicago. Then you go through the Chicago River, the Ship and Sanitary Canal, the Illinois River, the Mississippi River, and you can go all the way to New Orleans. And if you still have enough energy, you can go all the way back around Florida and do it all over again.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Or just weird. So, Mark, the Illinois state tax, it can be quite the bugger. At the same time, we have clients, Illinois residents, Andre, that want to leave Illinois, and you need to look before you leave. So get on our phone calendar at tuckerretirement.com. Last I counted, there are 12 different states that have estate taxes. So you would feel really silly if you left, say, Illinois, and you moved to Massachusetts. Because in Massachusetts, they have an exclusion of $2 million. And so you would be worse off.
Yeah.
As far as the state estate tax goes. So Mark, get on our phone, Mark, or somebody named Mark, or anybody knew anybody named Mark, or anybody ever listens to the podcast or knew how to spell podcast, get on our phone calendar at tuckerretirement.com. At tuckerretirement.com, you can see our phone calendar. Just click and pick a time that works for you, and we'll spend 15 minutes for free with you over the telephone in the coming week with one of our financial planners. Andre will get their questions answered, and
their answers questioned.
We'll even learn how to adjust Andre's microphone.
Maybe.
Well, it's been fun. It's been real. It's been real fun. We'll catch you in the next episode.